Hi everyone. Hi everyone, this is Daisy, and I'm with Zheng again for today's live streaming. And today we're going to talk about the courses that Zheng has taken in high school. And I think it's a very interesting topic because that's definitely very different from the courses that my students take in Taiwan. But first, I would like to start with what we just talked about before the live streaming. Zheng, you talked about your school used to be open campus, but not anymore. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so thank you again, Daisy,
Thank you.
for Miss Daisy for having me on here. So our school used to be open campus, meaning we were allowed to go on the Purdue University to have our lunch.
Uh-huh.
It was really fun just walking with your friends on campus to go eat at a restaurant or grabbing McDonald's. But recently our school disbanded that
Uh-huh.
due to some safety issues, I believe. Um, which is understandable, but it's definitely a bummer.
跟大家说一下，就是刚刚那个郑颖说了一个字叫 bummer，对 bummer 的意思就是会有点失望，对，让人有点怎么这样？因为郑颖的学校很酷，他们之前是开放式的校园，就他们是可以走出去学校用午餐的。然后因为刚好他们是在 Purdue 的大学的校园内，所以他们实际上是可以去Purdue 大学的餐厅用餐，然后就觉得说可以跟同学在中午的时候走出去用个餐再回来，其实很不错。但刚刚郑颖也说了，就是这个政策在最近被取消了，因为有安全的议题，对，所以you can't in a way dine out anymore during lunch hour, right? But you mentioned that you have a food court on your campus.
Yeah, so our school built a new food court. It has some different options with some salad, the usual burgers, fries, and there's like hot meals that just like tacos and spaghetti occasionally, rotating through the weeks. That kind of has been what has that has kind of been the norm this year with us not being able to go out anyways because of COVID. We've just been eating at the school, and it's kind of school has kind of taken on a college experience, I'd say, because the food court is just kind of like the dining hall. You get your food in a container, you go sit with your friends, and then you talk, and then you go back to your class. And so that has just kind of been what's happening in the past year.
All right， 所以刚刚郑颖有说，他们因为取消了那个开放式的校园可以外食的那种政策，所以郑颖他们刚好学校他们也有一个新的 food court， 有一个类似美食区的地方，然后他们是有热食的啦，然后有汉堡啦、薯条啦，或者是 pizza， 或者是 taco 是台湾学生比较少接触到的那个墨西哥的食物，叫做卷饼墨西哥饼，对，然后但是他们如果要吃健康一点的话，有沙拉这些选择，对，因为我刚刚有跟郑颖说，台湾的学生大概最常抱怨的就是学校的那个午餐选择真的太少了，然后多半都是淀粉或者油炸类。但是郑颖刚刚说的那个，我觉得对台湾来说，说不定也是一个可以参考的。Yes.
So, yeah, there's definitely been complaining in the past. I think at my old school, when I went to different middle school, the school choices were a lot less than what it is now, which I'm really grateful for the school now. But I'd say I like to I'm not sure if students in Taiwan are allowed to this, but I usually bring some healthy snacks with me. So I bring a lunchbox with a container of fruit and some granola bars, protein bars, and maybe a small sandwich if I'm allowed to. I just eat that if I really can.
OK， 因为刚刚郑也说，确实他在之前的那个中学的时候，就是 middle school 的时候，对，其实那个选择是更少的，所以郑颖就说，如果真的可以的话，他会带着自己的一些可以补充来吃的东西，对，一些可能是零嘴或者一些energy bar，对，或者是一些阳春一点的三明治，对，我觉得台湾的学生其实也是 I think students in Taiwan they actually bring their own snacks and food too because that's definitely something that you would appreciate when you get really hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, out of the lunch hour. Yeah. Oh, and then you talk about the clubs that you get to choose from, right? At your school. 社团的部分。I mean, in your presentation, you talk about the clubs. Can you introduce them a little bit?
Yeah, so I'd say in the U.S., outside of school, people are usually involved in two main things. There are clubs and then there are sports. So there are a lot of clubs in the U.S. school system, from chess club, quiz bowl. There's academic Super Bowl where you compete about math, social studies, and science. There are other STEM clubs such as physics club. There is just and robotics. There's robotics as well. There's just a wide variety of sort of opportunities for students to really kind of have fun and be involved with what they want to do. And yeah, so it's a really good experience.
因为郑颖说他们其实除了学校的正规课程之外，很多学生其实最主要从事两件事情，一个是社团活动，一个是体育项目。对，因为郑颖之后会说，就是运动对美国来说非常的重要。那社团其实也是，他们有各种各样的社团。哦，郑颖 ，I would like to ask you a little bit more about that quiz bowl that you mentioned. What does it mean? I mean, what's that club about?
So Quiz Bowl is, I believe, it's about just different social studies concepts. So about like history questions, you kind of compete with other schools. That's sort of a new club in our school. A club that's more kind of has been around is Academic Super Bowl, which is like Quiz Bowl, but it's just in I think 4 main areas of math, science. I believe there's a social studies one as well, and then languages, so Spanish and French and German. So you compete against other teams, other schools, and yeah.
因为刚刚我有问那个郑颖说什么是 quiz bowl， 对，因为 quiz 是小考，然后那个 bowl 是碗，对，然后刚刚郑颖说，其实这个比较像是一个跟社会科学有关的一个社团，然后他们实际上平常会有一些讨论，会有一些练习，然后也会跟别的学校的那个类似的社团进行比赛。然后刚刚郑颖其实有说，他们的社团里面有各种各样的，比如说有西洋棋的啦，或者是有各种科学类的社团，所以你其实是绝对可以找得到一个你还蛮喜欢的，或者是像郑颖 you mentioned in your presentation if you don't like any of the clubs, you can actually apply to set up a club on your own.
Yeah, so that's another really cool thing. It's a cool thing here. It's you have an interest that there's no clubs existing at your school. So you kind of want that opportunity. You can go fill out this form. It's a form. You need, I think, a few, like 10 signatures, and then you just need someone to be your kind of sponsor. So you just need a teacher. They'll let you use their classroom for the meetings. And so once you have that done, you just bring it to one of the principals and then get it signed off. It's a super easy process. It kind of allows everyone to be creative. If you're thinking outside of the box, you have something that you can establish, you can create that yourself.
我觉得刚刚郑颖说到一个很棒的，就是要 think outside the box， 就是你要跳脱制式的思考。所以他说，实际上他在他们学校，如果你对于这些现有的社团不是那么喜欢，然后你想要创造一个自己想要的社团的话，非常容易。他说，郑颖说，只要拿个申请表，可能收集个10个同学的签名，然后找一个指导老师，在那个社团时间可以来坐在你们的那个空间里面，然后拿去给校长签个名，你就可以成立新社团了。因为他们学校很鼓励大家都可以有 creative thinking， 对，你可以好好的有一些创意去发挥。I think that's really nice. I mean, to encourage students to get to do what you love freely. That's actually good. I like it. Oh, and then we have to move on to probably the most important part of today's live streaming, the courses. Right? Because you mentioned that you have required courses and optional courses. And can you talk about the required courses that you have taken and the optional ones that you have taken?
So required courses are just kind of the basic requirements for you to graduate. So it's you need a few years of math, world language. So for example, world language, you get to choose your freshman year if you want to be between Spanish, French, or German. And you kind of just progress through that language the next few years. So by the time you're done, you have some sort of mastery over that language. You also need six credits, so 6 semesters of science. This can come from biology, physics, and chemistry. And you also need some English credits. So there's American literature, British literature, short stories, creative writing. There's a bunch. There's also just a basic that everyone needs to speak English. And there's also debate and speech. And so those, I mixed up some of the required and non-required for the English, but I can go over it again. The English, all you need is the basic British literature and American literature. And once you have those done, you can select kind of what you want to do. And in the optional courses, you can select classes such as you can select some arts, so you can select painting, drawing, ceramics, where you're building things out of clay. If you're interested in business, you can take classes on marketing, management, personal finance, and accounting. And also, if you're interested in coding like me, you can take classes on computer science and computer science principles.
对，因为刚刚郑颖有说，其实相较之下，他们的必修课所谓的 required courses，实际上没有那么的多，对。但是他说是有的，比如说像有 world languages， 有第二外语，也就是他们可以去修德文啦、西班牙文啦或者法文啦，而且通常是循序渐进的。比如说他们在9年级的时候，然后如果先修了入门的，比如说西班牙文，然后之后实际上会有相应的进阶的西班牙文。所以他说，实际上通常到了你真的高中毕业的时候，你只要选了某个外语，还真的修了1-2年，你是有基本的那个驾驭能力的，就是你是可以用那个语言来做一些对谈啦，或者真的可以在去那个语言的国家的时候可以使用的。对 but Zheng Ying, as you mentioned that you don't have that many required courses, does that mean that you don't have to take them like all through high school, or like you can finish them early?
Once you have all your created courses done, I think this is the next topic. So you can take AP courses, which are kind of the higher level education, essentially college level courses taught at the high school. So it offers students the opportunity to get that college level education. And so they want to take that next step. And really cool thing about AP courses is actually most AP courses cover all subjects. So there's an AP course about just about anything. So there's AP economics, AP calculus, AP physics, AP biology. So after you've taken biology, normal biology, and you're really, really interested, and maybe you want to do a biology major, you want to major in biology, you want to go into med school, then you would take AP biology, and then, yeah.
因为刚刚郑颖说了一个，我觉得在台湾我们可以参考看看、思考看看的东西，因为他们就说，比如说你修了基础英文或者基础数学或者基础物理、基础化学之后，然后你发现你其实是真的很有兴趣的。那在美国高中是有提供一种叫做 AP class，AP class 的话，I actually googled a little bit about that， 对，它的全名叫做 Advanced Placement， 就是在高中阶段就提供你大概接近大学程度的课程让你修，如果你对这个领域真的很有兴趣，所以你上的东西已经很接近你在大学上的内容了。而且其实这个学分如果你满分5分，你拿到3分以上的话，你实际上在大学是可以抵那个学分的，如果你真的进了相关的科系的话。然后刚刚郑颖也有说，其实这个 AP courses 的话其实是还蛮多领域的，也就是说你大概想得到的它都有的让你修，对，也就是说你可能高中4年，你可能前1-2年修的是required courses， 但是之后上的可能就是AP courses， 对，因为让你可以继续上。But what about the honor classes? I mean, you mentioned about honor classes for many subjects.
Yeah, so how I did it, because I went into high school, into the high school system brand new. I wasn't here in middle school. So I had to take a placement test, and they offered me to choose between honors and non-honors. So you kind of have that choice. Honors is sort of like a grade or 2 grades ahead. So you get to progress to that AP level quicker. And so it's just really about what you're interested in. I wasn't really that interested in chemistry, so I had the option to take honors chemistry, but I chose to take normal because I wanted to focus on other classes that I was more interested in. So it's just really up to you and your own schedule and what you want to do.
Do you have like honor classes for quite a few subjects? I mean, what are the subjects that you actually have honor classes for?
Yeah, so there's honors classes in 3 main subjects, English, science, and math. So there really isn't any honors class for any non-required course. It's more of the required courses that have the honors track.
I see, because that's something that we can actually try to do in our own system. 要跟大家说一下，就正颖刚刚说了一个，我觉得其实在台湾我们很可以去思考的东西。他说，如果是在必修课里头，其实像英文啦、数学啦，或者是科学类的科目，比如说物理、化学啦，他们是有分一般的程度的课，然后跟比较进阶的先修的课的，所以就是所谓的分级，就是把英文分成，比如说普及啦跟进阶，或也把数学分成普及跟进阶。然后我觉得其实这个是非常好的点子 ，because students, students' proficiency like in English or in math or in science subjects are very different. So if they can be grouped into like people with similar proficiency, then it would be better for the teacher to actually guide them and for them to learn what they should be learning. That's actually a very good concept.
I agree a lot with that statement. I think that other people have other interests, right? So not everyone is interested in STEM. Not everyone wants to become an engineer. A lot of people want to be a designer or they want to work in the theater. So they kind of choose to take maybe art, history, and then they take the AP course. So they're taking the college level art courses. Instead, maybe they don't do honors math because they really honestly just don't care that much about math. They care about art. So it really offers you that opportunity to customize your experience.
我觉得刚刚郑颖说的这个非常棒。比如说，在他们那边其实是没有叫你所谓的分文理组的，就你并没有说什么过了某一个年级之后就只能修某些课。但其实，在台湾，我觉得这个东西也可以试着废除掉。也就是说，其实我们的高中3年可以让学生什么课都让他们修修看。比如说像刚刚郑颖有说，为什么英文、数学或者是科学类的科目的必修课，它必须要分级，是因为比如说有的人他可能英文不是那么好，对，可是他可能数学很棒，所以他英文可能修的是普及的英文，但他的数学可能就已经修到进阶数学了。可这个是因为他很清楚知道自己的强项在这里，他的优势在这里，所以他就去多修一点。然后可是他还是有符合他的基本的英文程度该有的地方，对，他也还是有过。所以我觉得 that's actually very good. I mean, that's a good policy, and we should probably try to implement it in our own educational system. And I heard about the optional courses that you've taken, like personal finance.
Yeah, so I've taken. Before I wanted, so right now I would like to become an electrical engineer. So
that would be your current goal, right?
Yeah, so that kind of aligns with the courses I'm taking next year, which is computer science and AP computer science and AP physics. That kind of has to do with what I want to do in the future. But before, kind of a while ago, I actually wanted to major in business. So I wanted to be a business major. So I took a lot of business courses. A lot of optional courses I took were business management, where you would really dive into how a company runs. It wasn't too advanced, but it gave you the general idea of, staffing, hiring people, the hiring process, how you should manage people. And I also took other classes regarding business, such as accounting, our homework was to fill out spreadsheets with a company's finances. And it was really cool. So they would tell us how much a business made, how much taxes, stuff like that. Then we would fill it out. And then that was what I learned. And in personal finance, it's a really nice class because I think it prepares high school students that next step to adult life. You stop being a teenager. It gives you a sense of how much you should save, how much should be in a emergency fund, you should use credit card, debit card, and what is okay to take a loan on, what is not okay. For example, it's maybe okay to take a loan for a house, but if you want to buy the newest sports car, it's probably not the best idea. And we just dive into those topics, and it's really fun because our teacher actually gave us some scenarios. And then for us to decide what was best for that person. So they might say, this person has this much money in savings. They have this much in medical expenses. Can they buy this new motorcycle? And then you would kind of discuss with your classmates and have a really nice discussion, and then come up with your answer.
Okay, let me get that translated to my students. 因为刚刚其实 I would say that Zheng you're a perfect example of people do change. I mean, I mean you used to see yourself as a future business management major maybe, but then now you try to switch course, right? Try to but that's actually okay. I mean, people change, and especially teenagers, you're trying to figure out what you like and what you want to do. 所以刚刚郑颖有说，其实他本来觉得自己以后可能要念商的，所以他实际上在修选修课的时候，其实修了几门，比如说他修了企管，然后在企管课的时候，实际上老师会教他们最基本的一些，比如说这个企业是怎么架构起来的啊，然后有哪些部门啦。那如果你身为一个领导者，或是身为一个主管，你应该要做些什么事情，注意什么事情？又或者实际上，郑颖有修过一门课是 accounting， 然后是会计，然后会给他们看那个公司的财务报表啦，让他们看他们的那个报税记录啦，然后他们可能要借此做一些相关的作业，然后郑颖实际上都觉得很有趣。之外，然后他们实际上也有 personal finance， 也有个人理财课，教他们怎么去要帮自己留急用金啦，然后你要怎么去运用申请自己的什么 debit cards， 对你的那些信用卡啦，怎么管理自己的财务，然后但是因为郑颖后来觉得好像走电脑资讯科技好像也不错，对，所以接下来高4，也就是他的高中最后一年，他实际上会比较偏上修的是比较偏电脑相关的工程相关的课，但我觉得会有这个自由度，是因为他们其实you actually get to have a variety of optional courses to choose from. I would say that that's probably one major reason why you wouldn't freak out if you change path.
Yeah, so I think changing paths is kind of a scary thought because you're like, oh, well, you kind of have that thought in the back of your head, like, what if what I'm doing is wrong?
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of my required credits out of the way. I had that free kind of change up what I wanted. And this year, I actually took honors physics.
Oh.
And that was the class. In class, we did a project on circuits. So we played with electricity circuits and mapping them around. And that is what kind of started my passion for electrical engineering and what got me on this path.
因为郑颖说，他其实对于要换跑道，就是换领域这件事情，也是会有点怕的，因为你都不知道这个到底对不对。可是郑颖有说，他这个过去这一年，他修了那个physics 物理的 honor class 比较先修班的，然后在这个课里头，他们有去做 circuits， 有去做电流啦，然后有去设计电路板啦什么的，然后他就觉得这样很有趣，然后他就觉得说，说不定真的以后是真的可以走那个工程类的电机类这一条路，对。Which means that you do need to have some experiences and with it, so that to make sure that whether you like it or not, to confirm your aptitude.
Yeah, so I'd say a good piece of advice to consider is just try new things. So don't be afraid to try that class that you're kind of like, oh, I'm not sure what it is, but maybe just try it, because a lot of optional courses here are only one semester. So maybe if you try it, you'll really love it. And then it could be your career one day.
Yeah.
So it's those small moments, I think, in class of just trying things that kind of direct you in the path you want to go.
我觉得郑颖给的这个建议算很好，就是 do not be afraid to try， 就是应该要尽可能的去试，就是你不管对任何东西有兴趣，你就去试就对了，而且说不定试了之后，你就会发现，这个东西我还挺喜欢的，然后以后真的可以好好的，所以去追求它。对 ，that's definitely a very good piece of advice. I like it. And then, we talked about, I mean, previous to the live streaming, we talked about like, because you are very into sports, so you don't really have that many required sports classes at school, right? You only have required sports for 2 semesters.
Yeah, just 2 semesters of basic physical education. So it's just like running laps around the school, like playing occasional games. That's pretty much it. But after that, do you want me to go in depth into like the sports scene?
Maybe I should just explain a little bit to them about this required course thing, and then you can move on to the sports part. Okay? 先让大家知道一下，因为等一下郑颖会讲更多，就是美国人是真的很热爱运动，所以他等一下会告诉大家说，为什么反而他们的必修体育课，就是这个对台湾学生来说可能很难想象，因为大家都会觉得，体育课很重要啊，好，但是为什么郑颖他们学校4年的高中生活只有1年的2个学期 的体育必修课，是因为体育必修课之外的时间，他们其实很多人都有从事运动，对，所以 Can you talk a little bit about the sports that you have been engaged in?
So when I was in middle school and even before that, I played baseball and basketball, and I also ran track my 8th grade year. And so I had a lot of just different experiences, but swimming is something that I've always kind of learned growing up. And I joined the swim team my freshman year of high school, and I just really fell in love with it since then. So it's just been my daily thing every day. But yeah, sports is a very big topic. It's a major part of the U.S. High school experience. So whether you're directly involved, you're playing a sport, or you show up to our school football games, school basketball games, to really show your school pride and cheer on your peers, people you see in class every day. You're going to cheer them on the football field and at basketball games. There's a variety of sports here. There's volleyball, swimming, track and field, cross country, wrestling, there's golf, tennis, basketball. So there's really any sport you're interested in, an opportunity to participate.
对，因为郑颖刚刚有说，就是他在他的简报里面，我有先看到，就是郑颖说，其实在美国是非常重视运动的，而且大家都非常非常的投入运动。然后就算你不是从事那个运动，只要有比赛的时候，你都会想要去加油，就是帮自己的队伍加油。他们的认同感是很重的。我觉得这个应该对台湾学生来说是一件很向往的事情，就是可以花很多的时间跟心力在运动上。因为郑颖自己有说，他在国中的时候啊，他其实是有从事棒球跟篮球的，对。然后他那个时候也有跑过田径，然后但是后来是到了高中的时候，在高中之前其实游泳比较像是就是只是一个运动，可是上了高中以后，郑颖反而把游泳当做一件每天都要做的事情，而且郑颖is a competitive swimmer， 一定要跟大家讲解一下这是什么意思。就是一般的游泳，大家想象的可能是可能就悠哉的游泳，对。可是郑颖的游泳是要去比赛的，所以实际上他们是很在意自己的练习的，所以他们实际上在练习的时候，实际上会很注重自己，比如说秒数啦，对，或者是你能不能够让自己的姿势伸展的更好，然后可以取得更好的成绩。That's actually totally different from I mean leisure swimming.
Yeah,
it's a totally different concept.
I think there's sort of this, maybe it's a mindset that sport can kind of take away from your school and kind of just distract you. I think the reason some people don't do sports is not because they don't want to do it, but because they fear, oh, my test grades might drop. I might do worse in school. But I can say from personal experience, I think that having that daily practice, it's actually helped me in school. So, yeah, if I could share a small, short personal story.
Okay.
My freshman year, I did not do that good in school. So my grades weren't that good. This was before I joined swim the end of my freshman year. So before I did any sports. So this was when I was just studying a lot, but I really wasn't getting the results I wanted. But then swimming came along, and that kind of taught me a lot of things and to kind of look at things from a different perspective. And it also taught me the time management skills that I have today, along with kind of trying new study techniques. And that's, I think, that's helped me propel my academic success.
郑颖 ，That's a really good story. I would like to bookmark it. 就是郑颖说，其实很多人会以为说，你花这么多时间运动，那你就没有时间念书啦，那你这样要怎么考出好成绩嘞？可郑颖说啊，他用他自己的那个故事证明，说其实就是因为有运动，才让他的那个学业更能够去做好时间管理跟那个效率的追求。因为郑颖说，实际上他在高一下学期的时候才接触到游泳的，也就是说他高一的时候实际上还没有接触到游泳，然后实际上也每天花很多时间的在念书，对，可是反而觉得好像并没有那么的成效那么的理想，反而是在郑颖高二高三以后真的很认真的去游泳，然后游泳占了他每天一个很大比例的时间跟心力之后，他发现他更会想要去把时间做最大化的运用，所以郑颖反而是想要用他自己的故事跟经验证明说，你其实是需要运动的，才能够让你的那个学习学业然后更上一层楼，所以台湾的大家对 do not be afraid to spare time working out every day because that might benefit you much more than you can imagine. That's a really good story.
Yeah, so I think that's the way kind of sports has impacted me and just given me just a lot of opportunities. And it's just, I think I wouldn't be where I am without swimming. So that's kind of why like I feel like sports are such a huge part of everyone's life here, because you are able to balance that physical, the sports side, and the academic. So people are able to balance that really well. And I just want to add one more thing. To the listeners out there, I'm not sure if you know him, but I heard Taiwan has this swimmer that's going to the Olympics named Eddie Wong. I think.
Wong.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. That I kind of look at him as my role model.
OK， 要跟大家说，就是其实因为郑颖自己是竞技游泳的选手，所以他说实际上有一个华裔的选手叫做 Eddie Wong， 然后 Eddie Wong 实际上就是一个他非常敬佩的一个典范式的存在，所以他其实是想要提醒大家说，是不是多运动一点，这样其实反而会让你的学业那边的表现，说不定可以得到加分。对 ，That's good. I would have to Google Eddie Wong later after the live streaming. And then you talk about your summer activities because it's summer now, right? You're having your summer vacation.
Yeah.
What do you usually do during summer?
So summer, I have morning swimming practices and afternoon, so 2 practices a day. So I wake up around 5 to 5:30, and then I bike to the pool or the weight room at school, and that typically ends around 7:30 to 8:30, around that time. So 1 or 2 hours. It's usually an hour and a half. And after that, I come home, I shower, I eat breakfast, and I take a quick nap before I start my online school. So I'm actually taking government online to kind of get my required courses out of the way over the summer.
对，一定要跟大家说，郑颖做了我觉得大家会觉得很敬佩的事情，就是现在其实对郑颖来说是暑假，但是郑颖每天大概5点半就会起床，因为他还要自己那个骑脚踏车，然后去那个游泳池那边进行1个半小时的那个训练，然后等到大概7点半8点半的时候再回家，然后迅速的洗个澡，然后快速的那个补个眠，然后他就要去上课了，因为郑颖说他想要在暑假的时候赶快修完一些必修课，这样子他开学以后才能有更多的时间去修他想要的课。I think that's something that how many students would probably not think of. I mean, to get some required courses out of the way so that you can spend more time focusing on the classes that you want to explore.
So it's kind of just what I've done the past 3 years. I got the social studies, so I got U.S. history, world history, just out of the way over the summer. And I think that has benefited me in just letting me take the more classes that I really love. So like good space up in my schedule.
But the courses you're taking right now are online or in person? I mean, right now?
It's all online. So it's just the teacher posts some lectures, some material, and then you just do homework and then have quizzes at the
let me explain that a little bit. 因为刚刚郑颖有说，其实这些所谓的在暑假期间先修的这些必修课的老师们，他实际上是在线上授课，所以他说老师们会把一些教材的内容放在网络上，然后可能规定学生要看，然后去做报告什么的，然后暑假完毕他就拿到这个学分了，对，然后这样子他开学以后他就可以去更专注在他喜欢的科目上面。That's something that we probably should be doing in Taiwan.
Yeah, because taking some of my courses online has given me the opportunity to take a study hall over my regular school year. And that's kind of just a 45-minute period where I can do what I want and really have more time to work on my homework because I'm on that demanding schedule.
Yeah, 这个一定要跟大家说明一下，就是郑颖刚刚有说，那或者是台湾的那个大家可能会有点困惑，说，那如果郑颖在暑假的时候就已经修完了一些必修课，那到了下学期那个必修课的那个时段嘞，所以一定要跟大家解释一下，这个很棒的观念，我觉得台湾也应该要有，叫做 study hall， 就是所谓的自习时间，他们是有一个空间专门给这些 study hall 的学生，就是当你到了那一节，然后你不用修那门课的时候，你可以去 study hall。那郑颖自己有说，他说在 study hall 你可以念任何的书，可是对郑颖来说，他其实是用那个时间做作业，因为大家有听出来吧，就是他早晚都有 游泳练习，他其实没有那么多的闲暇时间可以做作业。可是，一旦有了 study hall 这个时间，他就可以做作业了。I think study hall is perfect for you. I mean,
yeah, it's really helped me because this is actually a funny story I was telling my mom. Over, I think from November all the way to March, I didn't see really sunlight at all because I would wake up at 5:30, go to school, and then I would not leave school until 6. So
对，郑颖说了一个，我觉得也真的很有趣的，就是郑颖说，其实比如说从去年的大概11月、12月，然后一直到今年的3月，因为他早晚都在做那个游泳练习，然后白天又在学校毛起来上课，所以他说实际上他根本没有看过sunlight，他根本没有看过那个阳光，没有看过那个白天呐、他觉得这真的是一件很有趣的事情。对哦，but 郑颖 I was talking to your mom about your daily schedule because that's something I think students in Taiwan can what learn about or to actually think about because I want to double check with you. So you have like a 5-minute break in between classes, right? You have to move from one classroom to the other during that 5-minute break.
So
And if
that's our passing period to walk to the other class. So you might need to walk up different floors and just kind of walk to your other class. And you can also talk to friends during that time.
Because when people heard that the school hours like in your school is from 8:20 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, right? Because when they heard about this seemingly short school hour, they might have wrong idea, so I have to explain it a little bit to them. 对，就是 about that 5-minute break thing. 对，因为大家听到说，比如说像郑颖的学校，如果早上8:20到学校，然后下午3点，yeah, please.
I think it's from 8 to 3:30.
8 to 3:30. OK. 所以郑颖说，其实他们学校的话是从早上8点，然后到上学，然后到下午3点半。然后台湾的大家可能听到的时候会以为说，哎，怎么好像比我们短很多？但是要跟大家稍微解释一下，为什么其实感觉好像是8点到3点半比我们短，可是他们实际上学的东西或者是生活一点都没有悠闲跟轻松，因为实际上郑颖有说，他们其实每一节课跟每一节课的那个下课时间是5分钟 ，because in Taiwan, the break is 10 minutes. So you have only half of the time that you get to move from one classroom to another. 因为他们是跑班上课的，所以实际上你就是用5分钟的时间，然后从 A 教室移动到 B 教室，然后刚好中途可以跟同学打个招呼啦，聊个天这样子。但是你一定要准时在下一节课的钟响的时候到达那个教室，不然是会拿到一个那个 tardy， 就是一个延迟进教室的警告的。然后所以他们实际上只有5分钟的下课时间，而且 you only have a 30-minute lunch break, right? You don't have a nap time.
Yeah. So with COVID, there used to be the hour open campus lunch, but this year they cut it into 2 periods. So you would get 30 minutes of a study hall, like another study hall, but they called it homeroom. But it was just time for you to do your homework. And then 30 minutes you would go to lunch. It was so we could minimize the number of people in the lunchroom to kind of cut it in half. So, yeah, lunch was better.
因为那个郑颖有说，他们也是因为那个疫情的关系，所以做了一些措施，比如说像他们为了避免有太多人同时在那个 school cafeteria， 就太多人同时在那个不对 food court， 在美食区那边用餐，所以他们实际上不同的年级会有不同的那个用餐时间，但都只有30分钟。就是比如说以郑颖来说，他可能就是在比如说12点到12点半的时候，然后他就在那个美食区那边。然后吃饭，然后另外半个钟头则是所谓的自习时间，就你可以做作业啦，或者是念书。然后所以他们是没有所谓的午休时间的 ，because in Taiwan we have a nap time, a 30-minute nap time right after the lunch break. So if we delete that, then maybe our students can leave school early too, just like you. 对，所以我觉得我们如果大家对也觉得只要吃完中饭就好啦，不用睡午休的话，那实际上我们也是可以把时间缩短的。然后到下午的时候一样哈，就是也是45到50分钟一节课，然后5分钟的休息。对，所以大家其实不要觉得美国的学生过得比较轻松跟悠闲。So for every day you still have like 7-8 courses, right? I mean,
yeah, we have I believe 7 periods in a day, so 7 45 to 50-minute sessions. And about the nap time, that's something that I see both sides.
Right. Yeah.
Because I honestly, after lunch, I feel very, very tired. And my last period of the day is my math class. It's my calculus class. And so it's kind of it's a struggle to really just focus up when you're super tired and you want to sleep. But
因为郑颖实际上小学的时候有在台湾念过几年，所以他说他实际上是有经历过那个午休时间的。然后所以他现在到的是一个没有午休时间的国家跟学校体制。然后他说其实他必须要说，其实吃完午饭之后是有点累的。然后如果像他现在下午是有修微积分的 calculus， 对，但是那个实际上很烧脑，所以他反而觉得没有午休这件事情，他反而会显得很累。对，是的。Well, that's an interesting point of view. 对对。So probably, like the students in Taiwan might envy American students in some ways, but at the same time, the American students would probably find some other things in Taiwan intriguing.
I think that's just kind of how all of us are in a way. Just sometimes there's this kind of saying that we have. It's called "the grass is greener from afar."
I have to explain that. 对，刚刚郑颖说了一个我觉得真的非常贴切的，就是英文叫做 "The grass is always greener on the other side"， 就是我们都会觉得别人家的一定比较好，对，叫做什么酸葡萄心理是吗？就我们觉得别人家那边的葡萄一定比较甜，对对对，所以大家不要这样觉得，就是还是要喜欢自己一点。只是我们 we definitely have room for improvement, but it doesn't mean that we're all bad.
I think there's definitely room for improvement from everyone. I kind of just try to not think about other things, not distract myself, and just kind of focus on myself and what I can do, and what I have. And I think that's how I kind of don't let the distractions get to me.
That's a really good mindset. And in your presentation, you talk about you actually cook, right? By yourself. Oh, I like it. I like the idea of you cooking for yourself. Even though your mom is a really good cook.
Yeah. I just really like cooking. For some reason, I just like cooking breakfast, any meal really. It's just kind of relaxing for me. So maybe after I study for a really long time, I'll cook a nice meal, sit down, enjoy it. And that's just kind of relaxing for me.
这个一定要跟台湾的那个大家说，就是其实郑颖如果可以的话，他是会自己料理3餐的。但是一定要跟大家说，郑颖的妈妈是真的是很厉害的厨师，对，所以在妈妈这么会煮的情况之下，郑颖还愿意自己煮3餐，表示郑颖是自己很喜欢烹饪这件事情。而且郑颖刚刚有说，就郑颖觉得煮饭是一件很舒压的事情，就是他其实觉得自己帮自己煮好餐，然后好好的吃一顿饭，他觉得可以从那个学业的压力中稍微解脱，他觉得是很棒的事情。所以说不定台湾的大家可以试试看自己烹饪看看，说不定也是很舒压的事情。对 ，And in your presentation, you talk about your social life. That would be something that my students would be interested in.
Yeah. So. In America, everyone kind of has their own interests, obviously, and they have their own ways of kind of relaxing and getting away from that school pressure that's on everyone. Because in today's kind of modern era, there is a ton of stress kind of placed upon students, whether that's from parents, from teachers, from yourself even. There's obviously a lot of pressures, and it's really important to kind of deal with that and find ways to de-stress, to decompress, and so then you can go back the next day with a clear mind and just work again. So everyone here kind of does their own thing. There's definitely people that in a non-pandemic year, they go out and they eat a lot and they go to a ton of basketball, football games, and they go to the movie theater a lot. They just hang out a lot. And there's also people like me. So I don't like to go outside that much. I'm kind of more introverted, I would say. So for me, kind of relaxing is like social life relaxing is kind of just maybe calling a friend sometime and playing video games. I occasionally like to go out to a restaurant with friends or just go biking with my friends actually around the neighborhood.
That's actually nice. 因为刚刚郑颖有说，其实在美国他反而觉得最有趣的事情是，每个人都有自己不同的那个休闲生活。对，比如说他说真的会有人就是他有一些美国朋友、美国同学，他们可能真的在放假的时候，但是这个是在没有疫情的情况之下，可能会去电影院啦，或者是会去餐厅吃美食啦，对，或者是会去看棒球赛啦、篮球赛啦，好，所以他说这个其实都是很常见的休闲活动。但是因为郑颖自己说他比较居家一点，对，比较是属于室内一点的人，所以他实际上 上比较喜欢休闲时间是在家里，但他实际上也还是会跟朋友约去，比如说骑脚踏车啦，或者是也是出去外食啦，大家在餐厅里面，或者是就只是在家看影片什么的，但他反而觉得说大家各自做自己各自喜欢的事情，他觉得很有趣。对 I think that's I mean you know, we've been hearing so much about, how peer pressure can affect teenagers. Sometimes you want to be just like anybody else. But in terms of private time, I think you need to be different because we're all different and we all need different ways to relax. So what you mentioned is very important to my students. We have to remind them that you don't have to be like anybody else when you spend your free time, when you spend your private time.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's kind of maybe it's just another type of pressure to kind of, oh, all my friends are going out, maybe I should go out with them.
I should be like them.
Yeah, so I think what's being better now is kind of everyone just getting more to just respecting what other people does. So sometimes I would go out see with my friends, but sometimes I just want to stay home and I just want to watch a movie by myself, so it's kind of just finding what helps you and just doing what you want, because at the end of the day, you are very different from other people. We're all different people, so we will obviously have different methods that we like to do for relaxing.
因为刚刚我其实跟郑颖问了一个，我觉得郑颖也答得非常好的一个主题是 peer pressure 同侪压力，因为实际上我觉得10几岁小孩是很在意自己的同辈的人怎么看怎么想的，所以我刚刚有问郑颖说会不会因为同侪压力，然后就觉得说好像应该要跟别人一样，比如说连休闲活动都要跟别人一样，好像别人如果出去我没有出去就很怪。可是刚刚郑颖也说了一个非常重要的观念，就是我们实际上就因为我们都很不一样，我们其实在这个时代更应该要表现出自己的不一样，然后要对自己的不一样是自在的，所以他反而觉得这是一个很棒的时代，就你不会因为别人的休闲运动是比较户外的，然后我的休闲运动比较室内的，好像就要觉得不开心，或者是好像就会比别人差。对，这 that's actually something really really important. And when you mentioned that sometimes you would eat out at restaurant with your friends, and I saw a list here, the Chipotle.
It's called Chipotle.
Chipotle 因为那个我一定要跟大家说，就是郑颖所谓的跟同学出去吃饭，对，跟大家给大家几个例子，就是因为这真的跟台湾很不一样。比如说像刚刚那个郑颖说的那个 Chipotle， 它实际上是一个墨西哥连锁餐厅。What do you usually eat there? I mean,
so there's this famous thing they have. It's called a bowl. So it's in a bowl. And they put rice, beans, meat, salad, and a bunch of other toppings, and you kind of just eat it like that.
他说其实那个 Chipotle 最有名的是一个碗状的那个餐点，然后里面会有米啦，会有豆类啦，或者会有那些菜类啦，然后你就这样吃。对，所以他说那个是他们很经典的、很招牌的一个餐点。Okay, because we don't have that many Mexican restaurants in Taiwan, 对不对？ And you talk about Panda Express.
So. A lot of Americans really like kind of the Americanized Chinese food. So kind of the orange chicken, the kung pao chicken, stuff that really isn't authentic, and it's probably not that healthy either. But it's just really fun. Kind of fast food you can eat with your friends. So that's also a really popular spot.
对，一定要跟大家说，就是。大家身为台湾人，对，去到美国的时候，如果在那个美国看到那个Panda Express 对他们的一个很有名的连锁的，他们所谓的亚洲食物餐厅，一个中式食物餐厅的话，就像刚刚郑颖说的，其实你要它 authentic 就是很道地是不可能的，但是郑颖说比较像是把它想成一个可以聚餐的地方，大家一起开开心心吃个饭的地方，因为他说那边餐点绝对不是什么对不对很正统的很道地的，但纯粹就是一个大家可以一起 you can hang out and you can have fun together, that kind of restaurant. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned sushi. So you like sushi?
Yeah. So sushi is actually one of my favorite foods. I really like to eat it when I go back to Taiwan.
Okay. So you're a sushi person. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big seafood and sushi person. Okay. But something that's becoming more and more popular here among Americans is sushi. Like Japanese food, more and more people a lot of people actually have sushi as like one of their favorite foods. So yeah, more sushi restaurants are popping up and more high schoolers are just eating more and more sushi.
Oh.
So that I'd point out.
因为郑颖在他的简报里面有那个提到 sushi 寿司，对，因为郑颖说他自己回到台湾的时候，他也会很喜欢吃海鲜跟寿司，但他说有趣的事情是这几年美国人也很喜欢吃寿司，对，所以在美国人的心目中，寿司现在是很多人的最喜欢的食物之一。That's something interesting. I would say maybe because it's healthy or.
I think maybe that, but also just I think there's more of a mix of cultures here, more than ever. Just like as the world's kind of evolving, technology is just increasing so fast. The internet's increasing so fast. There's been so many different foods. So, like a usual American family might not eat the stereotypical things like steaks and burgers. They might go to a Mongolian grill or Korean barbecue or Japanese ramen. Ramen's actually popular now as well. So I think it's just kind of that connection of cultures and just more better.
所以他说，其实反而现在在美国的那种会去吃这种比较异国风味一点的，对的餐厅的人，其实是越来越多了。不管是可能是韩式食物啦、日式食物啦，或者是所谓的 Asian， 对，就是这种华人的亚洲的食物，其实都是有越来越多人能够接受的。他觉得也是很好的事情。That's actually good. The diversity, the variety. And at the end of your presentation, you talk about because you study in Taiwan for a couple of years and then you went to America and you've been there until now and you get to see the similarities and differences between the two cultures. Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so since I've attended school in kind of both places, I've gotten both perspectives. And in my opinion, although it may seem like such a big difference, just people around the globe doing completely different things, I think at the basic level, it's very, very similar. So you have your teachers that you kind of talk to every day. There's obviously favorite teachers.
Yes.
You like this teacher more. You have that daily conversation. You say, hi, good morning. And just those small interactions that mean a lot. And I think you also find a friend group. So you kind of have those few people that you hang out with similar interests. And I think that's something that occurs globally, no matter where you are, which school system. You kind of find that group. I also feel like school kind of gives everyone, no matter where you are, it helps you develop your interests. So if Taiwan maybe doesn't have as many optional courses, I think sometimes a student sitting inside chemistry class, and then they're doing an experiment, and then they pour something in and something happens, and then you want to become a chemist one day. So I think school everywhere provides that initial spark that kind of drives you for the rest of your life.
我觉得刚刚郑颖说的这个很好，就是当然一定每个文化都有不一样的地方，但是刚刚郑颖有说有一个倒是他觉得是全球性的，就是它是跨文化的。就是所谓的 similarities 比较是相同性相似性，他觉得比如说单单是在学校啦，跟同学们互动啦，跟老师们互动啦，其实这件事本身就已经很愉快。然后而且郑颖说不管是什么文化的人，其实都会有自己的朋友圈，就是 you have your own circle of friends。他说实际上其实感觉好像有很多人，但其实最后跟你很熟的或者比较有互动的，大概就是那几个人之外。而且他觉得其实学校是一个很棒的地方，是因为很多时候你是被点燃你的那个火花，就是 you get to have that spark。Of learning or doing anything， 对，所以他说，其实单就这几点的话，他觉得是不分文化的，是全球的学生应该都是这样子，对，只是 but then you have the differences, right?
Yeah. So there are obviously going to be differences as there's a huge difference in cultures. So this is just kind of my own opinion, but obviously the U.S. prioritizes sports a lot more, while Taiwan, sports was kind of just a leisure thing. It was kind of more of an occasional hobby. Maybe on the weekends you would go with your friends to the basketball court and play. It wasn't really a daily thing. It was more focused on just studying. So that's definitely a difference in culture. But also, I think U.S. students may spend more time on extracurricular clubs. So they might be really involved in debate club. And so they'll be researching projects. They'll be kind of participating in discussions. And maybe they're in chess club and they'll be practicing chess every single day for 2 hours. But I think in Taiwan, there's a bit of an absence in that. There's not as much of those extracurricular clubs. It's more, if I remember correctly, a lot of people would go to tutoring after
cram school, right after school hours, yes.
That's definitely a huge difference, and maybe the U.S. prioritizes extracurriculars too much, and maybe we should lessen on that, or maybe Taiwan should lessen on the cram school. I don't really think there's a perfect way, but I think both worlds can learn from each other and try to find the optimal way for kind of the next generation of students.
Yeah, an alternative, right? Not some fixed models. 对，因为刚刚郑颖说了一个很棒的，就是其实也没有所谓的完美了哈，就是我们其实比如说美国的系统可以跟我们学一些，或者我们也有可以跟美国系统学习的东西。比如说，他说可能在台湾我们确实把学业看得很重哈，甚至还会有很兴盛的补习班文化，所以我们的学生可能就没有那么多的时间或者是心力可以去从事，比如说运动啦，或者是社团活动。然后但是在美国的话，实际上运动是很重要的，因为他感觉好像在台湾运动比较像是一个休闲活动，但是运动实际上在美国是生活中的一个很大的很重要的东西。然后而且在美国实际上很多的青少年，他们实际上是花很多时间在他们的社团活动上。比如说刚刚郑颖就有说，如果你是西洋棋社的，然后你又非常的热爱西洋棋，你甚至可能每天放学以后的时间有可能1个小时2个小时都在下西洋棋，所以他觉得这个是我们跟应该说美国跟我们最大的不同。对，所以we definitely have something to learn from each other.
Yeah, so I'd like to add one more thing. Just no matter if you're in the U.S. system or the Taiwanese system, it's not really your fault that you're there. I know that Taiwan kind of in the college process, if I understand correctly, value like grades and tests a lot more. So that's not really the fault of the students. Maybe it's the system that needs to change a bit. But I think how I think of it is, no matter kind of if you feel trapped in a system, I think the best way to kind of beat that is to just try your best in that system, and then one day, when you're in a position that you can make a change, to make a change then. So kind of move further than just yourself and just really try your best. Because I know the students have their big test coming up, and they might think, wow, this is so unfair. I have to do this big test, study all day for this. And I just really hate how much pressure and stress it puts on the students. So I'd say just maybe a small piece of advice from me is to, if you really want to make a change, I think you can try your best now for that test, and then in the future after university or even at university, then once you're in a position that you can speak out and you can really make that change to perhaps have discussions about the school system and how it should be, I think that is kind of the best way forward.
我觉得郑颖刚刚说的是一个非常棒的观念，因为确实，这绝对不是学生的错。比如说在台湾，我们真的是因为大环境，就是我们的教育体系，让学生觉得说好像不好好读书，不好好考试，实际上就没有美好的未来。然后郑颖刚刚也有说，因为有很多学生都还要考指考，他们一定会觉得说，为什么我要考这个考试？为什么我要把这个考试视为我人生中唯一重要的事情？可是郑颖的意思是说，要不要先想成说 ，OK， 我们尽我们的力量先去在这个体制里面先生存，然后等到你有机会、有那个能力、有那个力量来改变这个体系的时候 ，you can do your own part in changing this whole system. If you don't find it good enough, yeah, that's definitely a very good way of thinking. I mean, we can all within our power do what we could. Maybe not now, because like high school students in Taiwan, they might feel trapped. But in the future, you know, once they go to college, once they do have the power to do something, that should.
Yeah, I think that's a really big thing that kind of everyone, maybe you're in middle school, elementary school, or even high school, you're 16, 17, you can't really change the education system of somewhere, but maybe once you graduate and you become a professor and you have this kind of chair position somewhere, you can speak out against it and really put forward a new plan. And I think that's how you can help out the next students.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a big dream, like a big goal, but it's definitely something worth trying and worth pursuing. 因为就刚刚郑颖说的这个，你说啊，我们每个人都应该要试着那个用我们自己的方式去改变这个世界啦，或者改变这个社会啦，但是听起来好像是一个很大的远大的目标，但其实是非常值得去做的，因为其实我们每个人都一定有我们可以做到的部分。Yeah, I definitely believe in our small changes or small efforts can definitely lead to big changes.
Yeah, something our teachers here have told us is with a lot of issues going on in the U.S. right now and around the world. Our teachers, I think one of my teachers told us, if you guys want to be the generation that really makes that change, and because a lot of people don't like the U.S. system as well, and not only the education system, but like politically stuff like that. But just no matter what you want to do, no matter if you want to help out with the climate or something, the best way is just to work hard now, and then as a generation with your peers, as you guys all kind of grow up and become the next generation of leaders, you can really start making a change there.
因为刚刚郑颖就有说，他们的老师在学校也会鼓励他们说，如果他们这个世代真的想要对这个社会有一些改变，因为其实美国也有很多人对现况不满意。他说，如果你还真的这个世代想要做些什么的话，你要很努力、很努力、很努力，然后在你能力范围内去做一些什么。对，但是在那之前 ，you have to work really hard。对，你真的要很努力，所以那个真的是大家现在应该要做的事情。对 ，we should all work hard. In your own way. Yeah. Oh, let me give them some preview for tomorrow's live streaming.
Okay.
对，因为今天的那个直播又差不多来到尾声，今天真的太惊人，我竟然跟郑颖讲了1个多小时，而且大家要知道，现在是美国时间晚上10点，所以对郑颖今天真的很累。然后要跟大家预告一下，就是明天要讲的是自学的一些资源跟工具。So tomorrow we will be talking about some self-learning resources and tools, and I think that's a really good topic, and my students would definitely be interested. Okay, 郑颖。Thank you for today, and I'll say goodnight to you for now. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.